And we are going to go live soon in 3, 2.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Alitia Snyder, and with me today is my lovely colleague, Nikki Strachen, and we make part of the VA Central team. And we also have our lovely guest speaker today, Chris Webb. Just to give you a little bit of a background of those of you who don't know, but VA Central was started by our MD Sanjay Gandhi, who's been in the estate agency industry himself for 17 plus years. And we were born during COVID when a lot of his friends asked him what he was doing differently. Bronwyn was his VA for 6+ years, and she is now the ops manager for VA Central. She still is, yes. She's the ops manager for VA Central. So a little bit more about us. Welcome. Over to you, Nikki.
Yeah, I just want to officially welcome Chris Webb, who's joining us today for this special webinar. So if I can just quickly introduce you, Chris. So Chris started his estate agency career 2 decades ago, and he worked his way up to being the National Performance Director of the UK's largest multi-brand lettings and estate agency franchising group. And now today he runs the estate agency consultancy. He's helping estate agents to optimize their operations, improve their sales processes, and drive long-term business growth. And I've just also included here a quote of yours, Chris. I believe that every estate agency business has the potential to succeed, but it takes the right approach and vision to get there. With expertise and tailored guidance, we can help other estate agency businesses achieve their full potential and hit their business goals. So I'm sure from your experience, you have gained insights on this vision and the right approach. Is that where your passion was born to help estate agents?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, thank you for such an amazing introduction. That's very nice. I'm going to add that onto the top of my CV. I think that would sound absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. So yeah, I think it sounds super cheesy, but I've always had a passion for helping people, whether that's in estate agency or changing someone's tire at the same end of the road, whatever it may be. I've always liked helping people. So it happens that I've got a lot of estate agency experience, so that lends itself rather well. So yeah, always been a passion of mine. You know, on the estate agency side of things, you know, when my clients sell more properties, list properties, all that sort of stuff, for me, it's like scoring a goal at the World Cup. I absolutely love it. So yeah, definitely passionate about it, to say the least.
Not cheesy at all, if I can add.
I was just going to say.
Bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, then I guess Latia and I are very cheesy as well, because
yes,
because you know,
absolutely.
It's such a passion for us as well. You know, just helping people grow their business, get more time on their hands. Yeah, I mean, whichever way we can. So, but today we are focusing on growing your sales pipeline, how to master that. So, Chris, you want to discuss the goals with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got some cool goals that we're going to work through today. So first thing we're going to look at is understand the importance of a sales funnel in your business, whether you are McDonald's or Burger King or the local tire shop or estate agency, anybody who sells anything, you have a sales funnel in your business, whether you know it or not. If you don't know it, then we're going to bring that to your attention today, and how we can optimize that is going to really change your business. So we're going to look at how we can use that structure to make consistent leads into business, and ideally growing leads into business as well, because the biggest killer of businesses in the world is cash flow. And cash flow is down the line from lack of business, which is lack of leads into the business. So if we can get lots of leads into the business to start off with, cash flow down the line should be absolutely fine, as long as you don't blow it all on stupid stuff between those 2 points. So as long as you're not doing that, then leads is certainly where everything starts. So by knowing your sales funnel and optimizing that, that's going to massively help cash flow down the line. Okay, we've got a couple of things we're going to talk through as well. So regulate cash flow. Yes, we talked about that. So obviously we want regular cash flow and income into the business. I'm sure lots of people on this webinar have got some sort of lettings portfolio. So we'll know the value of having a regular income into your business, whether that's £1,000 a month, £10,000 a month, £100,000 a month. If you can have that regular income into business on a constant basis, it gives you the confidence to grow your business and expand and do more marketing and more creative stuff as well. Whereas if you're always hand to mouth, you're probably a bit less risk averse on that side. So we're also going to look at how we can leverage the stock we've got for sale, sold, to let agreed, completed, all this good stuff you're doing at the moment, how we can leverage those actions in your estate agency business to generate you more leads in your business. So effectively, we're going to turn one instruction, one sale, one completion into 2 instructions, 2 sales, 2 completions. So therefore we can grow the business from there.
Sounds good.
Good. So this is your business. There we go. That's it. There is actually more than this. So we've got actually below listings, there would be sale agreed, there would be completions as well. So, but with most estate agencies that I deal with, the biggest issue they have isn't necessarily converting listings into sales or sales into completions. The biggest issue they have is a lack of leads into their business. So they say, I'm a really good estate agent and put me in front on the sofa with enough people, I will convert, but I don't see enough people. And I'm the best kept secret in insert your town here. So for the sake of today's conversation, we're going to focus pretty primarily on that part of the sales funnel, because that is probably most important to yourself watching this webinar. So question for everybody, and obviously guys, don't think you're off the hook here, you're on the line for these questions as well. Let's say you get dropped into an estate agency business. So in that business you have potential listings. So you've got people who are, you know, about to sign up, they've got contracts and they're kind of thinking they're going to go in that sort of direction. You've got market appraisals. So you've got people who are potentially wanting to sell their property. You've got a bunch of warm leads. So people said, oh, I might sell, might not sell, we'll see how we get on, sort of a lot of maybes. And you've got cold leads. So you've got a lot of cold leads in the business, but they are cold effectively. So they may want to sell, they may not want to sell, they might all be brilliant, they may all be absolutely terrible.
Might not want to sell with you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm gonna come in your office for the day and I'm gonna say to you, right, Nikki, get me an instruction. Where would you start? Which one of these 4? So good news is you've got a 1 in 4 chance of getting it right. So not the worst in the world. Where would you start if I said to you, right, Nikki, get me an instruction?
I'd probably start with the market appraisal.
Okay, good.
We've got someone that also said cold leads here.
Yeah, cold leads. I mean, feel free, put this stuff in the chat. I mean, go through. We want many answers.
I would go with listings. Yeah.
Okay, go with listings. Okay, I'll just give 10 seconds for any more answers to come in the chat. As I said, you've got a 1 in 4 chance of getting it right, 3 in 4 chance of getting it wrong. So glass half full, glass half empty sort of thing. So, right, let's give away the answer. So if you're going to do it, you'd start with listings. So you've got someone there who is ready to go. You've got someone who says, yeah, great, Nikki, love what you're saying. I'm happy to go on the market. So you'd get it signed up. That's fine. You've got 1 listing. Cool. High five. Good news. That's a really good start. So the more important question, though, is where do you go next? So you're in that estate agency office still that you know nothing about, and you can't find the listings you've been to. So that bottom row is now disappeared. So the good news is you've got a 1 in 3 chance of getting this right. You're also getting better and better by the moment. So where would you go to next to get your next instruction from? Bearing in mind, you can't call the listings at the bottom.
Okay. Would it be a warm lead?
Okay.
I would go market appraisals.
Okay. Good, but not the one. So what lots of people do is go market appraisals on this one. Actually, that isn't the case. So do you want to give away where we go to next? We would go to cold leads. And I'll show you why in a minute. So just to complete our sort of quiz for the day, where would you go to next? You've got market appraisals or warm leads. You've got a 50-50 chance of getting this right. Your answer would be?
Warm leads.
Okay. Any advances?
Yeah, I would go then warm leads.
Okay, very good. It's the right answer. So there we go. Right, so we'll just skip the next 2 slides on. So we've got the next 2 slides coming through. So there we go. So effectively, we've now completed our sales funnel. And if we just add a little arrow on top of that as well. So what lots of people do, and the mistake that lots of people make when their sales pipeline comes through, is they work their way from the bottom and work their way to the top. So Nick, if you just do a couple of arrows on top of that, please, a couple of skips. So effectively, they would phone all their listings, they'd phone all their market appraisals, they'd phone all their warm leads, they'd phone all their cold leads, and their bucket would be empty effectively. They'd have nothing left to do. So that's kind of when you get to in a sales job, you get to the 1st of September and you go, got no potential business. Who do I, I've got to get 10 instructions this month or 5 instructions this month. I've used everything up. It's this very sort of boom and bust approach. So ultimately what we're looking at here is going, right, we've taken a listing from the bottom. So we've listed a property. This is good news. And we know it takes a certain amount of cold leads to get a listing. So therefore our next job is to top up the top of our funnel to get whatever we need to get in the top of it to get that listing again. So we've got a flow of our leads coming into our business going around. It isn't a one directional flow where it goes listing, market appraisal, warm lead, cold leads. oh my God, we're in trouble, it laps right back to the top. So we're going to come into this in more detail in a second and actually show how the figures look. But if you do it the way that most people do it, this is how your business will look. If you just jump to the next slide, please, Nikki. So this is the boom or bust approach. So this is if you just use up everything in your sales pipeline, this is what is going to happen to your business. So this graph and this kind of wavy line, this can represent your leads into your business, your cash flow, your sale agreed, your banking, your completions, everything. Because if 1 month, if in January you list 20 properties for sale, and then in February and March you list none because you've used up all your leads, well, hey ho, fast forward about 4, 5, 6 months or so, you can have a brilliant banking month, surprise, surprise, when it comes to the end of Easter, and then you have a terrible banking month for the next couple of months. So this is
that actually used to happen with me, Chris, because I used to work as a sales estate agent here in South Africa. And, you know, I'd have my pipeline, it'd be going great, get a few listings, make a few sales. And when you see you're busy with all the, you know, the after sales processes, and then you get your nice check and then you're sitting there and you don't have anything in your pipeline. And now you have to start from the beginning.
Yep.
To start getting the pipeline going again. Yeah,
absolutely right. And it's the common mistake, actually. If you look at this graph, this could actually be the launching of an estate agent. So let's say we go bottom left-hand corner with the bottom of the squiggly line. If you launch an estate agency, you know, lots of work goes into getting leads into the business. I need to get leads, need to get market appraisals into my business. Then people get to kind of 5 instructions, 10 instructions, and they start doing kind of funner stuff, you know, viewings, valuations, take-ons, and the offer negotiation. They forget about all that generation stuff. That was yesterday's problem. I don't need to do that anymore. I've made it. I've arrived in the holy land of having 10 properties.
Very true.
As if by magic, everything tails off, and they stopped in the generation. And ho, oh, I've now only got 1 property for sale. Oh, I better start doing some lead generation again because I need to get some more stock on the market. And it's up and down, up and down. So it's really important to keep a consistent flow of leads coming into business. So let's see how that looks with regard to some figures with some sort of on our funnel. So let's say, for example, we want to get 1 listing onto the market. So that's a nice, easy round figure to start off with. Average market appraisal to instruction listing in the UK, let's say it's 50%. It should be better. So if you're at 50%, that's fine, but really should be kind of 60%, 70% ideally. So therefore, we need 2 market appraisals to get 1 listing, just to keep my maths nice and easy on a Thursday morning. So warm leads into your business. Let's say we need to get 5 warm leads to get 2 market appraisals to then get our 1 listing. And then at the very top of our funnel, let's say we need 10 cold leads to get our 5 warm leads, to get our 2 market appraisals, to get our one listing. So from those initial 10 cold leads, those people we've spoken to, 5 of them were like, okay, yeah, cool, maybe, might be interested. 2 of those 5 said, okay, yeah, I'll have a market appraisal, I'll have you come and see me. And 1 of those 10, effectively, has said, yeah, all right, I'll go on the market with your estate agency. So ultimately, there's 2 parts of this. So let's say we get a listing on the market with these figures in mind. We've taken 1 from the bottom. So to replace that 1, we need to get 10 cold leads back into our business at the top of our business to ensure that flow continues. So anytime you list a property, complete on a property, sell agree a property, let agree a property, anything where you might come out to the office and go, guess what, guys, I just sold that property, or guess what, guys, I've just listed that house. Your next thought should be, I need to get 10 cold leads back into my business to replace what I've just taken out from my sales pipeline. That is going to ensure consistent flow. Absolutely. That's going to get the consistent flow, consistent leads, and ultimately consistent cash flow into your business. So the big question is, great, how do we get these 10 cold leads? That is probably the next question. How on earth do we
get the burning question.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I was going to ask.
I was going to ask the same thing. What are the your top 3 platforms? Yeah.
Absolutely. Where do we get these 10 cold leads from? So the easiest way is to leverage what you've got. So having 1 property for sale, like we've got on the slide here, for example, is great. But what's really good is to leverage that property into 2 instructions, 3 instructions, as many we can get off the back of it effectively. So I'm going to just jump on to the next slide. We'll chat through how this structure should look. So this is not a definitive list on it, but if you're doing all of these, you're doing pretty well. So this is kind of most of the things you should be doing for when you have a property for sale. So launch days, 7 to 10 days from going live. Every time I go on social media and someone puts online, I sold this property within 24 hours, a little part of me cringes inside. because you've not done your job correctly, because you've listed it on Monday, you've sold it on Tuesday, you're bored by Wednesday. It's turning into a Craig David song very quickly, isn't it? But yeah, that is not the ideal structure for having a property on the market. You should list it on the Monday, spend 7 to 10 days marketing the pants off that property, getting a load of viewings on that property, getting market appraisals off the back of that property, and then you have the open day, and then you sell it anyway. So therefore, you've got more leads in your business, give yourself more time. So
Cool.
it's not that the perfect game is not list it on Monday, sell it on Tuesday. That is not what it's about. That's not what you're aiming for.
It's about leveraging the opportunity that you have.
Yes, because everyone viewing, obviously, well, they'd say 50% of the viewers already have a property that they want to sell.
Yep,
as well.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know, the job of your property particulars is to get your phone ringing, and you get people to phone you up and say, hi, I'm looking to move to the area, or I've got a place to sell, or I'm looking for a bungalow. Great. These are all options and possibilities for your business that you wouldn't have had if you sold it on the first day.
Build relationships.
Absolutely. More people you know. Again, it's just more people in the top of our funnel. So social media is obviously massive, and you want to get as much content out as you possibly can off the back of an instruction, and off a sale, and off a completion as well. So for example, if you list the property for sale today, there's an easy 3 videos off the top of my head you can get out there for just property coming on the market. So that is, for example, I could stand by the street sign to start off with and say, hi, it's Chris Webb from Chris Webb Estate Agencies. Really exciting news. I've got a house coming on the market in New Road behind me. If you're looking for a bungalow in this sort of area, give me a call on so-and-so, so-and-so. You could even then run around the corner and record this video 10 seconds later. Hi, it's Chris Webb from Chris Webb Estate Agents. I'm just doing the photographs today on so-and-so property I spoke about yesterday. Look how lovely this kitchen is behind me. This one's absolutely amazing. I can't wait to put this one on the market. And then you do another video the next day when you start doing viewings, or 10 days later when you start doing viewings, saying, hi, it's Chris Webb. I've just started doing viewing today. We've got 5 viewings on this property today. I've got 2 viewings tomorrow. It's going to be really popular. So, you know, we need to think a little bit more American realty rather than British. British is very shy and reserved, and I did an okay job, and I've not done that much about it, but it's worked out quite well. Where we need to be a little bit more razzmatazz, a little bit more like, I've done a great job. This is what I've done. Tell the world about it. So this should go on your social media platforms. You should get your vendors to share your social media posts as well. So if you've done a coming soon video, great, get your vendors to share it. They're probably more connected in the right demographic you want to be in than you are. So if they can share it, you can then comment on it. Brilliant. It's all, you know, good exposure for yourself. You've got lots of opportunities with regard to vetting of buyers. Obviously, you've got working their properties backwards, so listings for their properties, but also things like financial services, solicitors, loads of additional income for a person there. You should look to earn at least an extra £1,000 per property you bring on the market for sale in additional income. So if you're not getting £1,000 worth of additional income on the back of the properties you're listing and selling at the moment, you've got a big opportunity there to generate some more income for really not too much work ultimately as well. You've got speaking to old market appraisals, and how that conversation might look is, hi, Mr. Jones, hope you're okay. I know I came to see you a month ago and you said to me you're looking for a bungalow. Well, amazing news. I've just walked out the front door of a bungalow that is coming on the market with me next week. I think it's perfect for you. Do you want to come around and have a look around it? You might have that exact same conversation 6 times with 6 different people. I've just walked out the front door and I thought of you and I thought it'd be absolutely perfect for you. Do you want to come around and have a look at it? Again, we're turning 1 into 2. Buyers,
yeah, I think a lot of agents, sorry, Chris, focus on hot leads, like right now leads, and they forget to nurture their colder leads and to keep in contact.
Absolutely.
There's a statistic, Latia, was it every 6 to 12 interactions? That's only when someone decides to go with you. Yeah,
yes.
6 to 12 interactions. So if you only interacted with that person once, don't expect them to become your client.
Absolutely. So I've got a client who was instructed on a property the other day, which was on the market with another agent. And I said to him, oh, you know, great job. Congratulations. Why did you get instructed in the end? And he said, I met with the homeowner and they said they received 3 letters from me, 2 leaflets, and I knocked on the front door. And the vendor's exact words when he got instructed were, you've deserved this. So,
oh, wow.
So it shows how much you need to do to get noticed. It's a lot more than you actually think.
Yes, it also gives the vendor the idea that if you work this hard to get them, you're going to work just as hard to get the best price for their property. You know,
Absolutely.
you're always putting everything in there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But after sales service as well, also important. A lot of good discussions I've had with agents that I've worked with before is they have to keep on nurturing, and they forget that as well. 5 years from now, that vendor might want to sell again. So you have to maintain that relationship.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's just more stuff in the top of your funnel. What we don't want is a leaky bucket where basically we've got a hole drilled in the bottom of our bucket where leads just disappear into the river, into the stream, never come back to us again, sort of thing, and they're gone out of sight, out of mind. You know, you've effectively paid for those leads in your business, whether it's through, you know, blood, sweat, and tears of delivering leaflets, or whether it's through social media advertising, or whatever it may be. You should never delete them. They should never be out your sales funnel. Even if they get an annual phone call, annual video to say this is the market update for Slough, great. I've got no problems at all. That's absolutely great. So you've got speaking to your buyers list. I mean, I would focus on people who have a place to sell initially, but obviously anybody who's got a hot buyer that you've got after that as well, you speak to. Really obvious one for sale board. I'd hope everyone's kind of pushing in that direction as well. And for sale in your area leaflets. So this is a slight cringy pet hate of mine. If someone says to me, oh, I do 20-20 leaflets, I do 20 on one side of the road and 20 on the other, you're going to get nothing back from that. You are going to get absolutely nothing back from it. You are very, very lucky if you do. You know, the minimum numbers you should be doing for these sort of things about 500. If you've got a really nice house where you go, actually, this is a really good property and this is right up the street where I want to kind of have my listings come up in the future, you might even look to 1,000, couple of thousand. It's a really great message to go out there with. But if you're doing 20, 50, 100, you might as well really not bother in those situations, because it's all about the scale. Again, it's more, you know, it's exactly the same conversation. If I know that if I deliver 1,000 leaflets, probably a lot of those aren't going to be interested, but I do 1,000 leaflets, I'll get one at the bottom. So therefore, the easy answer is if I just do multiples of 1,000 leaflets at the top, I'll get 5 at the bottom or 4 at the bottom, you know, depending on what it may be. But it's all about that sales funnel all over again. So that's when we list a property for sale. And as you might imagine, there's stages to go through when you sell and have property go under offer as well. So if I just jump on the next slide, please, Nikki. There we go. So some really obvious ones here, which I'm sure you guys are doing. So sold board going up of the property. You've got a sold in your road leaflet. I mean, again, at least 500 of those. You would do that all over again at completion as well. You are more than likely, if the property is advertised correctly, going to have some missed out buyers on the property. So hopefully you didn't just have one viewing and sell it to one person, because we've said that's probably not the way to go with it. So you might have one person or 5 people who viewed the property who said, actually, I like this area, but it's not quite the one for me. Great, fantastic. This is brilliant news for us. So what we can do is send a letter out to all the local houses in the local area. It's another touch point to say, you might have seen, we've just sold the house up the road. Well, I've got Mr. Jones, who unfortunately missed out on it. Would you like to sell your property? Great, we can send that to the local area. It's another touch point for our business as well. So if I lived in the house next door, for example, already I've seen the for sale board, the sold board. I've seen 3 social media videos, ideally, a couple of social media videos on selling it as well. I've seen the viewings outside the property. I've had 2 lots of leaflet drops. I've had a letter drop to say I've got a buyer who missed out in the local area. The touch points are just adding up very quickly. So we are really kind of hyper marketing that small area around our instruction. So also, if you've got a buyer who missed out on that property, about 30% of all properties that withdraw from the market today will give it a go in about a year's time. Because if they need to upsize, they probably still need to upsize. If they've got too many kids and their house is too small and they want a bungalow, whatever it may be, they still have these issues. So it's a really good opportunity to approach people who used to be on the market and say, look, I know you're on the market a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. You might have seen we've just sold a property recently. I've actually shown your old detail to someone who missed out on the property that we sold. Would you be up for a one-off viewing on your property? Great. Again, we're adding stuff to the top of our funnel. Social media videos, really easy content here. Just sold a property, just completes the property. Homeowner's really happy. I've done a great job. Again, slightly more American would be great. Asking for reviews. That isn't just from the buyer of the property and the seller of the property. You've got people who viewed the property, might have had a good experience with yourself. A lot of the time, you just need to ask. And as a tiny...
absolutely.
Oh, go on.
Sorry, Chris. A tip we got on getting reviews from a client is, as soon as they say thank you, ask for a review. Whether it's
from our MD.
Thank you for helping me with my inquiry. You know, any thanks. If you've offered them any type of service or just assisted them with a question, ask for a review. Have your Google review link ready or your Facebook review link ready, so you can just pop it over.
So I would go one step further than that, and I'd add one more stage in there. It's going to make it even better. So a little kind of Brucey bonus for the day.
Please share.
People like to be consistent. People don't like to change their mind because it makes them look like weaker people than the people think they should be. So, for example, you know, if I say, for example, I love the color blue, and then you say, oh, what really is your favorite? And oh, all right, it's the color red. People don't consider that a good trait for people. So if you get to commit and almost give you a verbal review. So if I said to you, for example, you know, Nikki, how have you found working with Chris? And you go, oh, it's been really good, actually, Chris. I've really enjoyed working with you, and it's been really, really good. Thank you so much for doing it. You've been absolutely brilliant. Brilliant. Would you be happy to put that on Google for me? They feel stupid saying no to it because they've almost given you a verbal review. So you can just
I
say,
love that.
So there we go. Nice
So using that.
There we go. Small Brucey bonus for the day. Also, completion day, photograph stroke video. So you'll see video appears a lot throughout the stuff we're doing. Video takes up about 75% to about 80% of all the bandwidth on the internet, and that is going to grow over time till it's like 95% of everything we content we go through. So you need to be on video. That is, so everything you do, all your good news messages, don't just put a picture of the front of the house and say, I've just sold this house. Do a video standing outside the front of the house saying, I've just sold this house. I've done a brilliant job. I've really helped the homeowners because of X, Y, Z. So that is where it needs to be. So video, you'll see, is repeated right the way throughout this.
Do you have a tip there, Chris, for anyone that's shy of the camera?
Yeah. So yeah, it's probably a bit harsher than you probably want it to be. You need to do it. That is it. Whether you record 10 videos and you just watch it yourself, it doesn't get any easier recording a video. You just care less. So for me, you know, trust me, I'm vain, arrogant guy. I don't like seeing myself on video. Don't like the way I look, sound, the same as everybody else. But I've recorded so much video, I just don't care anymore. Which I know sounds awful, but I know what, you know, I know what I need to do. I know with regard to practicalities, I know I need to have my sound right, video right, lighting right, not a shaky hand, whatever it else may be. And you just need to do it. What I would look for is marginal gains in your videos. So if you look back at your, you know, let's say you record one video, cool, good news, you're miles ahead. What people don't understand is that 90% of doing video is just doing it. The 10% is my makeup okay? Is my hair okay? Is the lighting okay? 90% of it is just doing it. That's the biggest part of it. So just by doing a video that you've got a shaky hand in, sound isn't brilliant, you've done most of it really quickly there. But look back on those videos with a critical eye and go, actually, my sound's a bit rubbish. Actually, my hand's a bit shaky. Actually, that's the wrong kind of angle. And I'm looking at instead of looking at the camera, I'm looking at the screen instead. So you're kind of doing the whole sideways eye thing. Right, I need to change that for next time. If you make one little improvement every time you do a video, after 2 weeks, you'll be an absolute boss. Absolutely guarantee it. But you need to do it. It's where everything is these days. You just need to accept it and get on with it, basically. It's a lot bigger deal to you than it is to everybody else, I assure you, because no one else really cares about how you look, sound. If you sneeze halfway through, no one really cares, but you do. So
yeah,
if anything, it makes it more authentic. And I think people, you know, like today's world, they want authentic. They want authentic. The more scripted and the more perfect it is, the less they can relate.
Absolutely.
Words from Sanjay is always done beats perfect. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I was chatting to a client the other day who was reluctant, should we say, to do video. And I said, right, okay, well, let's talk about what's the worst thing that can happen on your videos. And he said, well, I trip up a curb, I sneeze halfway through, I, you know, cough halfway through, a van goes past and beeps a horn sort of thing. I was like, that would make the best video. I would watch that video of a guy like beeping you halfway through and you tripping up a curb and sneezing halfway through. That would be good content. I would watch that sort of thing. So
exactly.
The stuff that you think is terrible, actually people want to see. So one of my most popular videos that I produce is always my outtake videos. If I do an outtake video, it gets more traction than my stuff I actually do correctly. So it shows that people don't really care. It's just about getting your personality across.
Yeah, that's true.
I like that.
There we go. Right. And I think we've got one more slide to go potentially. There we go. Forgot what the slide even coming up. So what I have got for you guys, I've got a for sale guide and a sold guide. So it goes through in some detail, as you can see on here, which effectively are prompts for your marketing. So actually, if you want to get those 10 leads into your business, or 5 leads or 20 leads, whatever the number is at the top, these are steps to go through for each of your properties when you advertise them for sale or when you mark them as sold and completed, how you can get those leads into your business. Because remember, we don't want to sell a property on Monday list it on Monday and sell it on Tuesday. We want to leverage and get leads off the back of it between that time. So this literally breaks down everything we've talked about today and puts it into step-by-step guides, so you know exactly what you should be doing. The goal of this is that after you've done the first 5 to 10 properties following these guides, you never need to look at it again, because you just know what you need to do. You go, right, I've listed a property. I know I need to get a board up. I know I need to leave it drop in the local area. I know I need to do some social media videos off the back of it. And this is when they're booked in for. So if you want these, my details are coming up very shortly. Just message me and I'll email them across to you, all free of charge.
Yeah, that's a fantastic tool to have, Chris. Thanks for sharing that. I think any estate agent would appreciate that. So yeah, now we just want to open the floor. If there are any questions, I know I have 1 or 2, but if there's anyone that's watching who'd like to ask a question.
Yeah, we covered it.
Nikki, we've got a question from Michael. He says, "Hi Chris, thank you for your time. Great ideas on the videos you can create for social media. Let's say I have a new listing every week. Would it be okay if I create similar videos for each listing, or will it cause too much repetition? As I understand it, repetition can be viewed as a negative thing."
Yeah, absolutely. So less is potentially more when it comes to the video. So people get bored quite quickly these days. Kelsa breeze, TikTok and all that sort of stuff does that to people. So a video for a property listing coming on the market should probably be 30 seconds to a minute long maximum. So your video is going to start off with 10 seconds of introduction. Hi, it's Chris Webb at Chris Webb Estate Agents. It's then going to end with, if you want some more information, give me a call, or if you want to view this property, or some sort of call to action, or if you want to know more about living in the area, give me a buzz on XYZ. So really, all you need to fill is that 20 seconds, 30 seconds in between sort of thing, which isn't a long period of time. So you should have sort of a consistent layout of your videos, because that's good and it kind of adds regularity to it. But the message should be different in between. So tiny sneak peek about what's coming in the future. So I had 2 clients this week who both said to me, I want to do social media, I want to do more content, but I don't know what to talk about. So I'm literally in the moment, one of my jobs today is I've got a not very pretty list at the moment of 100 topics to talk about on social media, which I'm currently this afternoon making a bit prettier, which is going to get released very shortly in the next couple of weeks or so. So therefore there is never any excuses about what to talk about, because there's so many things to talk about. But to answer the question, I would not worry too much about the regularity, or sorry, not the regularity, but the consistency of your message, because that's exactly what you want. Because you want people to be going, blimey, he's listed another house. Blimey, he's sold another house. Oh, he's helped another person move. Great, absolutely brilliant. The main job of the video is to get across what you're doing, but also get across your personality, what you sound like, what you look like. So if you organize a valuation with yourself, this is what turns up. So, this is what you like online, and this is what you get.
Add my 5 cents to that as well. I follow quite a few agents in the UK because I love watching their videos and the houses and judge the kitchens like I can afford them. But Victoria and Fran from Marston, Fun and Country York are some of my favorites. And it's very similar every single time. They do an introduction, but they add catchy music. Every time the tune's different. When they do the walkthrough, I enjoy the song and I enjoy the videos. So, yeah, just adding those little extras as well.
Absolutely, but I bet if you go back to their first video, I bet it was nowhere near that good. I bet you back to their first video, there was no music, there was there was ahs, there was this, there was that.
Yeah.
But they've looked at it and gone, actually, the better music we add, or when we add video music to it, it looks better, it's a bit smoother, it's more slicker, transitions. It's so you're just looking, don't worry about where you are today, because today is chapter 1. And in the same way that if you went on social media as a normal person, i.e. not an estate agent, you would look at it and go, God, everyone's on holiday all the time, everyone's got a Ferrari and whatever else it may be. That's not the reality. When you're an estate agent and you look on LinkedIn and Instagram, whatever it may be, you think everyone's got a helicopter filming this stuff and it's amazing, it's slick, it's that, it's this, all this sort of thing. That is like chapter 20. You guys are on chapter 1 primarily today in some cases. So focus on being on chapter 1 and get that absolutely nailed. Don't worry about someone who's got a drone and they've got a Ferrari that parks on the driveway and they walk out of the car looking cool. We'll get to that. That's a future sort of goal to aim for. But as you said, done is better than perfect. So focus on getting that content out there, because 90% of it is just doing it.
Fran adds her bloopers as well. She has 5 retakes and she's like, oh, someone walked in. Okay, let's try again. Okay, the camera's skew. Let's try again. Love it. It's so raw and authentic.
You're getting your personality across. You're getting your personality across, that you're just a human, and yes, you make mistakes now and again. Yes, you sneeze now and again. Yes, you fall down the stairs now and again. All that it happens, sort of thing. That's actually fine.
Yeah.
Hopefully you don't fall down the stairs every now and then.
only like one step, not like the whole step. That would make a good video, I'm just saying.
Yeah. If your phone
Another
survives.
Another great tip I saw the other day, whilst, as they say, doom scrolling. If you're looking for like nice topics for videos, you can go on Google and then you just type in, let's say, of course, you want to focus on a state agency. Google pops up questions that's related to the topic that you're Googling.
Yep.
So that's the most asked questions on Google with regards to that topic. And if you're going to click on a few of those questions, more questions pop up. And now you're going to know, what are people asking with regards to this? Or it could be, with regards to an AIP. What questions are people asking there, or which solicitor to use? There's a lot of valuable content that you can be giving. It doesn't only have to be which property you listed. You can be giving value. And I think if you position yourself as the expert, that's where you'll also be getting a lot of clientele from.
Absolutely. And if you're looking for again, I like that tool. I'm going to use that in a minute for my list of 100. In fact, it's up to 111 things already, so I may make it 200. But that's a really good tip. But the things that I've always done historically, if someone said to me, right, give me 10 social media videos, for example, I would think back and I'd go, right, my last couple of market appraisals, what are the questions they've asked me? They've asked me, do you do viewings on a Saturday? Do we need to give you a key? Do we need to be in for viewings? How long does my valuation last? How long does a viewing last? What do we do with regard to feedback? Great, these are all videos. These are all 30-second videos to say, someone's just asked me, do they need to give me a key for a viewing on a property? I always say yes, because actually it's better if homeowners are out the property. Actually, studies show you get more money for the property, you get offers in the property sort of thing. We can't do that with the homeowner there. So absolutely, yeah, we take a key where we possibly can. Great, that's a video. So, there's a load of topics out there that you can talk about at any one time, but you just need to think about actually what would be adding value to people who are in the public. And there's a million questions. And the sort of the issue that people have in the estate agency world, and I've absolutely been guilty of this, is you think it needs to be up here. You think that, let's talk about property presentation. People think I need to do some sort of massively slick, huge video about property presentation. It's got loads of cool transitions and all this sort of stuff. Really, you just need to do a video saying, cut your grass. And that's it. Do I need to paint that wall? Yes, you do. So it is like the lowest common denominator, but don't think the video needs to be up here with regard to the content. It needs to be some sort of, 21st century Fox production. It actually just needs to be simple, basic tips that you might roll your eyes slightly and go, obviously you need to cut the grass, but go through Rightmove. I can find your property that hasn't cut the grass in about 20 seconds. So clearly people need that advice. So actually the information is really low level, but sometimes even with the content I put stuff out and I think to myself, God, is this a bit low level? And am I kind of telling people how to suck eggs? But then people message me saying, Chris, thank you so much for that. That was absolutely great. That was really handy. Thank you so much. And I think, what do I know? So if in doubt, lowest common denominator. Don't pitch it too high.
Yeah, that's brilliant advice. So, Chris, I do also have a question just with regards to, ensuring that you don't have any of those leads dropping out the bottom of your bucket.
Yep.
Do you have a system in place, or are you using, like a CRM or something that pops up like a reminder for you? How do you make sure that you follow up with someone you spoke with a year ago?
Yep. So your CRM system is your best friend in this situation. So you should never, a lead should never die in your system. So let's say, for example, a lead drops into your system today and you can't get hold of them. Great, I've phoned them a couple of times. I've sent them a video to say you can get hold of me. I've sent them a WhatsApp and they're just not coming back to me. I can take the hint, they're kind of ignoring me. So great, I'll schedule that for 3-4 days time. Okay, they don't answer me that time. Right, I'll call them in a week's time. Right, don't call me then, I'll call them in 2 weeks' time. Don't call me in 2 weeks' time, I'll call you in a month's time. Don't call me in a month's time, I'll call you in 2 months' time. Don't answer that, I'll call you in 4 months' time. To eventually you're on sort of like an annual 6-month rotation where you update them what's going on. And what you should have in the background is also a nurture campaign for everybody on your system. So email nurture is really, really important. If you think that the average, let's say the average move takes 6 months. I'm sure it takes, maybe slightly longer, maybe slightly less. But people think about moving a lot longer before then, maybe 6 months before, a year before then. They're thinking, oh, maybe I'll move house, maybe I won't move house, maybe I'll look on Rightmove, maybe I'll check out a few properties. They're not quite at the do you come around and get estate agents around my house stage, but they're certainly at the let's have a browse on Rightmove and let's drive past the house at the weekend potentially stage. So you might get hold of them or try and get hold of them really early on in that stage, And actually, they may view a house in 2 weeks' time that changes their mindset on it straight away. And their motivation changes massively. So if you've just called them for that week or two and you've never called them again, you've just wasted that lead. Because actually, if you phone them a month later or 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later, they might go, actually, perfect timing. I just viewed a house at the weekend. I really like it. I need to get my house sold as soon as possible. So they've gone from a very cold lead to a very warm lead very quickly. They've kind of powered themselves through your sales funnel, to go back to our original graph, quite quickly just by finding a property. So if you're not in contact with them, you're off the chart.
I can speak from experience there. It's horrible to see a property listed that you spoke to a few months ago and you never followed up.
Yep. Absolutely.
It's a bitter pill to swallow.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you didn't get the chance and you've shot yourself in the foot effectively. At least if you get to the front door and you go on the market appraisal, you can look at it and go, right, I had a conversation with them and I didn't get it because of X, Y, and Z. Fine, that is what it is. But if you don't even get that far, then you've really kind of done yourself a misjustice there, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay, well, I guess that's all the questions for today. Yeah, so just want to go a bit into what a VA is.
Yeah, I was gonna say good range of questions, everything from the slides through to the video through to everything else. So yeah, very good range.
It was great. Yeah, we've got a lot of content here.
Yeah, and my mind got blown. I thought, but my way of doing it was completely wrong. So thanks for that, Chris. I'm going to rethink a lot of things after this. So yes, for those of you who don't know, we're just going to quickly touch base on what we can do here as well. We appreciate that you are quite busy. You don't always have the time to maybe call all of those leads, get the cold calling done, things like that. And this is where a VA can be ideal for you as well. What is a VA? A VA is somebody that can do everything for you, that does not require them to be physically present. So we can assist with administrative, business development, social media marketing, and all kinds of other tasks as well. Yeah, so if you want to do just sorry, Nikki, carry on.
No, 100%. So of course the VAs do fall into, two categories, which is administrative and technical. Yeah. I mean, for an estate agency, what we've listed here is, like, for example, web development, video editing, social media marketing. That's your technical side of things. And then, when you're looking at the administrative side of things, we can do specialized roles such as sales and lettings admin. You could get a personal assistant. You can get someone to do your sales progression, property management, basically any role in your estate agency that doesn't require the VA to, hand over a key or shake someone's hand because they're going to be sitting in South Africa. But yeah, so I just wanted to list as well. Chris, are you also starting with your VAs pretty soon? What's it? Tomorrow is her first day.
Is indeed.
Exciting times. We'd be very happy to have you on board and join the VA Central team.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
My add to that, Chris, were you happy with myself and Nikki when you initially met with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm getting a VA to take away some of my paperwork because typical salesperson, hate paperwork. So I'm getting a VA for once a month to come through and do all the paperwork for me in the background, so I can just kind of be there to look after my clients and help them as much as I possibly can and not get dragged away by doing some boring spreadsheet stuff. So yeah, it's absolutely going to take a load off me massively.
Fantastic. Do you mind just putting that in a review for us, Chris? Thank you very much. Taking away what you taught.
Yeah, perfect.
You left the opportunity open there.
I didn't see it coming.
But anyway, yeah, so you, of course, took a very small package of once a month, but our most common packages are half day or full day. I mean, looking at everything you mentioned, Chris, this takes time, of course, being able to handle your leads, nurture that pipeline, record your videos, go hand out 500, 1,000 leaflets. It takes time. So this is something that we would be able to handle with, I've put you a business developer or lead generation specialist, but I mean, anyone that can just basically take tasks off your hands so that you can focus on getting seen on social media, and focus on your fee earning tasks. That's what we'll be able to do at VA Central, and that's it. So Chris, here's your details. If anyone would like to download that, what do you call it? A sales guide?
Or sale and sold guide.
Yes. You can contact Chris directly, or if you're interested in having help you with your estate agency. And then, of course, here's our details as well. The details, we will post that in the webinar link as well, in the comment section, just to make sure that you don't miss our details. But yeah, thank you so much, Chris, for joining us today.
Yeah.
I learned a lot.
No,
Very much. And your energy is amazing. You're just really fun to be around. So
it's a
thoroughly
rainy
enjoy that
Thursday.
side
We
of you
can be
as
energetic
well.
on a rainy Thursday. So thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, 100%. Okay, and thank you everyone for joining. We'll see you again with the next webinar.
We'll see you soon.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Nice to see you all.
Bye.
Bye.